Time to play the game. Time to play the game. It's all about the game and how you play it. All about control. And if you can take it, all about your debt. And if you can pay it, it's all about pain. And who's gonna make it? I am the game, you don't wanna play me. I am control, no way you can shake me. I am heavy debt, no way you can pay me. I am the pain, and I know you can't take me. Look over your shoulder, ready to run.
Good morning. We're here with Brad Barton of the NOJHL Blind River Beavers. How are you today, Brad?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Good, good. How are you enjoying your first year in the NOJHL at Blind River?
You know, it's we've had our ups and downs, and as I said, we got a real young team. So I'm trying to be as patient as possible, and you know, hopefully the fans are staying patient. We've had some real good games with some good teams, and we upset the Sioux, and you know, we tied the Sioux and lost to them in overtime, and lost to Powassan in overtime just recently, and things are looking up. We have, like, our leading scorer just turned 16 in October, so that kind of tells you where we are with age-wise. So, but yeah, things are going good.
And just like you say, you weren't there last year, of course, being this is your first year, going 0-51, 0-1 last year, and going into the halfway mark of of this season, you're 6-27-3. So it's a move forward. Something's happening for the good in Blind River, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know, it's not going to happen overnight. You know, maybe some people want it to happen faster. I would have liked to happen faster too, but you've got to have a process there, and to be competitive in the years to come, we had to sacrifice some age this year, so that's what we've done. So
now, how many veterans do you have left over from last year?
We've got two right now, Andrew Trowbridge and Alex Kidd. And then we got Alex Stager, who played for Cochrane, but that's basically our only veterans that have any junior experience. So now we could field a hell of a good midget team if we wanted to.
Now, with the two veterans, do they see a big, not just on the ice, but a big change in atmosphere and the team from last year and this year?
You know, like, we've done a lot of community work with the community, and you know, I think the kids see that as a big change. And you know, it's just to come in and have a chance to win every night. Not saying that you're going to win every night, but a chance to be in the hockey game and a chance to get positives out of it. And I think that's where they see the big difference.
No, we're based in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, so we're only about 90 minutes away from Blind River. Now, do all the players have to live in Blind River?
Well, we have a few guys that live at Echo Bay and a couple in the Sioux, and they carpool down together. And we've got places for them to stay on weekends when we have games, and if we have a practice, and then we have a practice the next day, there's places for them to stay down in Blind River. So, you know, that was their family choice to make that, and if it was up to me, I think I'd like to have them all close to town, or if not in town, but you know, we had to sacrifice that to get some good players out of the Sioux and Echo Bay area.
Understandable. And like the other day, we sat down with Paul Renaud of Fighting the Truth. They help players with anxiety or depression or substance abuse or anything along that lines. And in our talking previous in the season, you had mentioned about suffering over the years with depression. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, you know, I had quite a few concussions growing up, so I think they're kind of go intertwined here. And just last December, I went and sought help and, you know, got on some medication, and like, I've suffered from depression. I was at a point in my life last year where I probably couldn't get out of bed. The only thing that got me out of bed was to go to the rink. I was still coaching, and I coached through it. And, you know, I think coming up to Blind River kind of just, you know, I needed a change of atmosphere, and I wanted a challenge. And that was
big challenge.
a big challenge. So you kind of take things head on. And I find that, kind of when you're at the rink, you're on the ice for practice, you're in the dressing room, you're in your comfort zone, you're on the bench, you're in your comfort zone. It really does help you to battle like a mental illness. And, people with mental illness are in all stages of our society, and, right from our politicians right through to professional athletes to actors to it's not something to be ashamed of. It's something to just embrace and talk about. So
now the thing is, with, like I say, mental illness, is how do you manage your symptoms? Being a junior A coach, and I'm not coming off of season last year. You went there on Blind River, but like I say, to build a program that you're building, and like you say, you always want to succeed, but like when you're struggling sometimes, how do you deal with, like say, the symptoms or the depression?
Well, and it's at the end of the day, it's just a game. Hockey is just a game, and I think I've come to realize that, especially battling through this mental illness. It's not, the sun will come up tomorrow regardless of what the score was, and you've got to somehow stay positive and figure out what maybe went wrong, and then try to help that through that week of practices. And you stay positive, and you have small little gains, and I think that helps with the illness too, that you're just always battling it, but at the same time the battle is what life's all about, right? So
exactly, and that's the problem today. It is coming along, but there is a stigma around mental illness that still exists. Like say, even that we're trying to build knowledge and understand how people with mental illness. Was it hard to let people know, like say, being in the public eye as a junior hockey coach, was it hard to let people know around you about what was happening?
It just kind of, it came out that I just kind of started talking about it a bit on Facebook and letting people know that I had it. And then the more people I let know, the more that it becomes less of a stigma, and it's maybe easier for them to come out and talk about it. And, I don't know if it was ever hard to talk about it, because it just became part of who I was, right? So you just talk about it, and, I have an open communication with the players about it. And, it's something that I think is just huge, that you have to be able to open up.
Understandable. Now, with being a coach, and not saying any players on your team, but what signs would you look for as a coach or as a parent from, like, say, a teenager? And with junior A hockey, there a lot of stress comes with it. A lot of them living away from home in a small town. If you had a player, what type of signs would you be looking for for the anxiety or depression or those type of things?
Yeah, that's tough, because I don't want to make a medical
understandable
type of thing. So I'm just
your experience.
Some of the experiences I might see, maybe like shut out, maybe irritability. Oh, sorry, I can't get that word out.
It's morning.
And just like little things like that, right? Maybe just staying distant from the group, for being aggressive, or different things like that. So it's just, and you want to have an open communication with them for them to come talk to you, but it might be easier. We got a Safe Talk program coming up with the CMHA, and it's going to be real good. They're going to come in, and I think some of the teams have already had them come speak to them, and they can if they can talk to each other easier than they can talk to me, then that's even better too. So it's just short but small steps that the league's taking to help with this.
And I'm not talking with the NOJHL, like you say, Hector and Ted and excuse me, Rob are doing an amazing job with the NOJHL, but with junior hockey overall, it's taking too long, don't you think, to get to where it's at to help these players? Like, we should have caught this a long time ago.
Well, the one thing that I if it was me, and, you know, going out on a limb here, if you look at the concussions in hockey and you look at the depression after hockey, they kind of coincide with each other. So I'd like to see a program where there's more talk about that. You know, we talk about depression and anxiety, but we don't talk about why all these hockey players down the road get it, or they might get it at a young age. If there is a correlation between concussions and that should be discussed. You know, I think that's something that should be more out in the open. But that's just my own personal opinion on it.
And I think that's where, like, I use Paul a little bit with the fighting the truth is trying to help. It's not just with professional players because they're used to day-to-day waking up every morning and hockey's their life, but junior A players today, majority of the time they go to school and all they do is hockey. So when they're done at the age of 20 or 21, it's to the point where what do I do now? And it's
exactly.
They've been playing since the age of 5, so it's something that, like you say, the hockey world's trying to help. It's like say, but it's baby steps before you actually before you run, right?
For sure, definitely it is, and you know, I think just the fact that we're talking about it today is a huge step, and the more that people can talk about it, and the more that people can, you know, have open discussion about it, the better it will be for the hockey world.
Oh, and that's exactly, like I say, with young men, or not just young men, young people overall, it's something when it comes to hockey or any sport, it's their image, not, I don't mean the tough guy, but they have to be their role models, and they don't want to come out and tell people exactly what's happening, right?
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's there's always that suck it up mentality, and you know, now I think the suck it up mentality, the tough thing to do is to talk about it, right? So to talk about it, so we can turn the pages instead of sucking it up all the time, and then turn the tables to people talking about it. That's what we need to do.
Oh, and when it comes to concussions, we can talk for hours, and I haven't seen it yet, but there's this week alone, Will Smith's coming out with concussion movie with the NFL, so it's that huge in society today, and it's something I use when we played, and I'm in my mid-40s. If we had a concussion, it wasn't diagnosed back then. It was you had a headache, you took a few aspirin, and you played tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, for sure. There's actually funny story. A guy who was my newspaper reporter when I played in Quad Cities. He wrote a book called Convergence of Events. It's I think it's on Amazon, and it's about a professional football player that suffered concussions. I think I don't know if it was a football player or a hockey player, but it ended up that 10 of my poems that I wrote were in this book. So it's so if you get a chance to read it. But it's another thing that you know, I think the sporting world is going to see that movie, and they're going to see all these other things come out. And my dad said there was a good article in the Star yesterday about the women's hockey and their problems with concussions. So you know, it's definitely a top-end topic.
Oh, and I use women's hockey, again, I don't mean totally different from men's, but women's hockey doesn't have full contact. So
exactly.
It is shooting. Another sport when we talk about it is we could talk for hours on sports, but it's soccer with the ball hitting the head all the time. So I'm not blaming parents, but you have so many parents today with putting the pressure on the kids to play sports. And I use little Johnny, got hit in the head or whatever. Oh, he's fine. He can go out and play the next shift. Where we can't do that anymore like it used to be. I use how we have the dark rooms in the NHL or stuff like that. It's not worth risking your life anymore for.
No, it's definitely not. And that's where the game's got to change its mentality too. Like, I think rough hockey is fine, but I think it comes to a point where, what's the point in a huge hit if it could cause a concussion, right? Like, we could go over that all day, like a huge hit that is just kids going out to run at one another, and it causes a concussion. When do we teach these kids not to make that big hit?
Oh, exactly.
Right? Like, does it come down to that? So there's lots of discussion, but, you know, what's the best thing for the game? But sometimes you have to think, what's the best thing for the players, right?
Exactly, and it doesn't matter at what level for when it comes to their health. The NHL is a little bit different. They do it for a living, but at this level for the youth, we can't treat them like meal tickets. I don't mean it that. Like I say, hockey's becoming a business, but we still have to think about these 16 to 20-year-olds, about their health, and what you guys are doing is some of them might go to Junior A, or if not, NCAA. So they might have another 4 years after they leave Blind River, and after that, they got to realize, like we talk about, there is life after hockey, right?
Yeah, there is life after hockey, right? And you think it's not just they got, like in Junior A, they have chance to play at Canadian University. There's the college programs trying to come back in some places out west. It's really good, like the Canadian College, and and senior hockey. And these are things that I think as our league needs to not only sell as NCAA, we got to sell these other programs that they might be able to go to, like the Canadian colleges and the universities, and even the senior A teams, just to keep, like, if they want to play, we've got to give them opportunities to play, not just NCAA, because you look at a Division III scholarship nowadays, you got to have a lot of money to go play school hockey in the States.
Exactly, and that if you're going to go to school, and like you say, you can afford it, Division III is a way to go, because you're paying to go to school anyways. But it's not cheap.
No, it's definitely not. So.
And it goes back to being here in Sault Ste. Marie, or you down in Southern Ontario, or it doesn't matter where. It's I go back. My son played rep hockey when he was 10 years old, and I remember a coach back then. And I've been involved in hockey since being born, with my parents owning a team. And this rep coach at my son, 10 years old. So excuse me, that was 11 years ago. And the coaches looked to the left and looked to the right, and you got 18 rep parents who are paying $5,000 to $10,000. So they looked to the left, looked to the right, and they said, okay, those are the people you're going to be sitting at in the men's championship at the end of the season. And you saw jaws drop, and people are like, why are we here then? But it's just realizing, I live in Sault Ste. Marie. We have Ken Belanger, Aaron Gavey, Denny Lambert, guys who played in the NHL. Where are they playing now? They're in the men's league.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where we all end up, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's like, no matter what, it's after hockey, after the sticks are put away, it's there is life at the age of 40.
There is. I think that there's so many opportunities for companies in Canada to get involved too, because kids that come out of a Junior A strictly regimented program would be pretty good hires at any business. You know, they know teamwork, they know what's the importance of being on time. They know how to deal with paperwork given to them. They know all those little things that they've learned through their experience with Junior A hockey, right? So I think companies need to jump on board and help with these kids that need a place to go.
And that's why I use it in the States, some of the bigger universities. That's what a lot of the companies are doing now, is they're hiring. The advantage there is it's a lot of times it's alumni who own companies, but still they're hiring these, not just hockey players, but these athletes, because they go to school, so they're doing the school work. They're living day to day, and they're playing sports. So it's so regimented. They're hiring them right out of the university because of the lifestyle they have had for the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's good. That's great.
So it's like you say, it helps. Again, it helps the businesses, but at the same time, it helps these young men, right?
For sure.
So, well, I can't thank you enough today, Brad, for sharing your story, and like I say, with depression and with the Beavers, and good luck in the second half of the season.
Thank you very much. Look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you. We'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.